Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to each and everyone. Yeah, today we shall be looking at how we can we can have a quick understanding of several concepts in chemistry. And of course, we have to excel in chemistry. Okay, it's very important that you excel in chemistry because it is the simplest of all. And we know it is not over until it is over. Don't say I'm done yet. No, until you get that A plus, that's when we shall say it is done. And of course, we will welcome you to high school as usual. Yeah, and I'm Steven. That's my name. And basically, we shall look at some of the key areas of discussion. Will be on natural resources, which is also very important. We shall also look at using materials which encapsulate the building materials, textile materials, and packaging materials. And then at our level, we shall still look at the industrial processes, that's the manufacture of oxygen. Okay, yeah, and then as we proceed more to senior 2, senior 3, senior 4, that's when we shall be able to have a glimpse of several things. All right, without taking any more time, we'll start on the natural resources. And the quick question is, what is a natural resource? And I know you know the answer. So natural resources, these are resources, or these are materials that are common or that are found in our environment and are able to support human life. Okay, such as we have water, we have air, we have rocks, okay, we have crude oil. So all those resources are very important in our life, in our lifetime, and really support life. So what must you do on when given an item on natural resources? Ensure you maximize all the scores, and you must know the following as you attempt any question on natural resources. You must have the category of the natural resource at your fingertips. You must know what category is it. Of course, we said there are only two categories of natural resources. That is the renewable natural resource and non-renewable resources. And then the reason for the chosen category. If you said it is a renewable natural resource, and then you would proceed and give us the reason as why it's called the renewable natural resource. Okay, like we shall see at on the slides to come. Renewable natural resources, these are resources that can be replaced or replenished in a short time once used up. Okay, and then because they're non-renewable, these cannot be replenished or replaced in a short time, okay, or in man's lifetime once they've been used up. And then you must be able to tell us examples of other natural resources. Okay, if the category is renewable resources, tell us the reason for the chosen category and other examples of the renewable natural resources in that order. And then finally, we can look at the composition of the natural resource. All right. And of course, we came up with an abbreviation that can enable us to quickly understand natural resources. That was CRECO, and of course C meaning, then C, we have R, we have E, and then we have CO. And what do each of these letters represent? Now C represents the category. Like we said, you must know the following: the category of the natural resource. You must know the reason of the natural resource, okay? And then what is E? E represents the other examples of the natural resources. And then the CO, which is the composition of the natural resource. Okay. Additionally, I want to talk to us about the format of assessment within some of these items. Firstly, your essay must have at least 3 paragraphs. What is captured in the first paragraph? The first paragraph must have the human activity, the natural resource affected, the category of the natural resource, the reason, other examples of the natural resource, and composition of the natural resource, just like we just discussed in the previous slide. It must have category, reason, example, and composition. Okay, so we are free to move forward. That's the first paragraph. Then paragraph 2, it must have the impact or the danger of the human activity. Then you have to explain how the impact or the danger occurs, and then you look forward to mitigating the impact or the danger, and that was abbreviated as IEM. Impact, explain how the impact occurs, and then M, mitigate the impact. And what is paragraph 3? What does it encapsulate? Paragraph 3, you must have the use or the importance or the benefit of the natural resource. Okay, now to some people, they like giving social benefit. For this case, we do not give the social benefit in this form. When you're looking at items on natural resources, you are only required to give the importance or the use of the natural resource. Like we shall look at some of the sample item that has been provided to us in the next slide. We have that scenario. They say the Nile River and the surrounding environment are facing a severe crisis. The ocean, the once clean waters and surrounding environment are now degraded by a rapid population. So that's very key. That's why I've highlighted them in red. And industrialization, which have led to devastating environmental consequences. These issues have created an urgent crisis, raising alarm among the environmentalists. They have raised effort to develop and implement a joint action plan aimed at educating the public and mitigating these effects by organizing radio talk shows to create awareness to the public. You have been invited to address the public task as a chemistry learner. Prepare a short presentation you will deliver in the radio talk show. So when you read your scenario, always have an understanding which natural resource is being addressed. Okay, here they've talked about Nile River. That means that's a source of water. Okay, so the natural resource in this scenario is water. All right, and then go ahead and analyze or understand the activities that have been mentioned within the scenario. All right, here in this case, they've talked about industrialization. Okay, and then as you read further, your scenario will ask you to do something about the problem within the society and how you can mitigate or you can reduce the impact of the problem. All right, so in this table on this other slide, we have the human activities and the natural resources affected and the composition of the natural resource affected. So in this case, when you see any scenario having activities like charcoal burning, bush burning, and deforestation, then you must have an understanding of the natural resources affected. For example, charcoal burning affects both air and vegetation, that's trees, because you need trees. All right, so it's affecting the trees. Bush burning is also affecting air, because as you're burning the rubbish or the bushes, we are releasing too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. We are releasing carbon monoxide, which is toxic. And we are also affecting vegetation, because as you burn the bushes, some plants and some trees are destroyed. Okay, so having understood the natural resource affected, you must now come to the composition of the natural resource. Air is composed of oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, rare gases. And then the natural resource, the other one is vegetation or the trees. We have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, though vegetation has got several components. For example, magnesium, we have sulfur, okay, we have nitrogen also within there. So you can just mention the first key, that's carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay. Likewise, to industrialization affects water through the release of industrial wastes, and also affects air, okay, which through the release of the fumes, toxic fumes from the manufacturing plants or industries. Then transport can also affect air, okay. For example, in the cities, cars emit fumes, carbon monoxide fumes, and even carbon dioxide, which are very dangerous. And also they can also transportation can also affect water. This can be related to terms of transportation, okay. For example, the canals, the ships, okay, which release maybe oil within the water. And also the ship these ships also release human wastes into water bodies, if you've watched some of those video clips. And then we have activities like agriculture, animal and crop husbandry, use of fertilizers, car washing, and washing using detergents. That one simply affects water. Okay. So just like I said, our paragraph 1, it must capture the human activity, the natural resource affected, the category of the natural resource, and the reason, other examples of natural resource, and the composition of the natural resource. Okay, so we are trying to attempt or to answer the previous item that we just saw. Okay, so this is how I started it. I said industrialization, that's the human activity, affects water, the natural resources, which is a renewable natural resource because it can be replaced or replenished in a short time once used up. Other examples include air, vegetation. Water is composed of hydrogen and oxygen. Paragraph 2. It must have the impact or the danger of the activity, explain how impact or danger occurs, and then mitigate the impact or the danger. And under this paragraph, you have to give at least 2 points. Okay? Now look what I said. I said industries release industrial wastes into water bodies. Okay? Which change the pH of water, causing death of aquatic organisms such as fish, hence loss of biodiversity. I've explained. Okay? This can be mitigated by treating industrial wastes before releasing them into water. My second point, release of plastics into water prevents oxygen from entering into water, causing death or suffocation of aquatic organisms such as fish, hence loss of biodiversity. This can be mitigated by recycling or reusing of plastics, or this can be mitigated by setting strict laws against poor disposal of plastics, or this can be mitigated by sensitizing the population against the impacts of poor disposal of plastics. So in this case, you give us the impact, you explain how it occurs, and then you mitigate. Now on this last point, you can just pick on any one of the of the mitigations. Yeah. Okay. Now, paragraph 3 must have the use, the importance, or benefit of the natural resource. And I say, do not give the social benefit. See how I did it. Now, for you to score all the marks, you must identify the benefit, that's the BI, and you have to explain that benefit, that's the benefit explain, or BE. For example, water is used for domestic purposes such as bathing and washing. That's benefit identified. Hence, improving personal hygiene and sanitation, preventing the spread of diseases. That's benefit identified. Water is used for irrigation. That's benefit identified, which makes crops grow healthy, hence improving agricultural produce. Benefit explained. Water is used to generate hydroelectric power. Benefit identified. By fast moving water, which turns turbines, converting mechanical energy to electric energy. That's benefit explained. All right. Water is used to cool machines in industries. Benefit identified, which prevents them from exploding, hence improving the efficiency of machines. You getting that? All right, you just try out that sample item in your free time, and of course we shall kickstart from there. And yes, thank you so much, and have a good day.